If you go down in the woods today, you're sure of a big surprise. If you go down in the woods today, you better go in disguise. For every bear that ever there was will gather there for certain, because today's the day the teddy bears have their picnic.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Scary Stories by the Campfire. We are your hosts this evening, Jason,
And Jeremy?
and we are going to be talking about a movie Jeremy picked out. And it was a movie that I have not seen, and this is the viewing we had on Monday was the first time I'd ever seen this movie. Though I kind of already knew the twist. Jeremy had already kind of, told me about that little twist in it. But overall, we are talking about Incident in a Ghostland. And the movie was pretty good. I like the movie. I like the movie. Probably not like it was probably not like one of my favorites. It's
So, real quick before we keep going, PJB Daw says we have a very creepy background. And for all you future listeners
on
that listen to the podcast, later after it's already been uploaded and stuff like that, the picture she's talking about is the main character, Beth, when she's in this Chinese mirror box with this creepy doll that keeps laughing.
That doll was like life size.
So anyway, continue, Jason. Sorry.
No, I was just talking about it, and then I saw that thing or whatever. And the way that I have my screen set up is that I have the Twitch screen up, but I also have the Discord pop out, how we're doing the recording and whatnot. And it's centered perfectly in between our Twitch stream. So I didn't even see it until PJ mentioned it, and then you said, "Oh," and then I shrank down my screen so I could see it, and oh god, it's creepy. So this movie was creepy. It was pretty depressing. It was intense. In certain aspects, it was just kind of like
Good evening, Buck Hunter.
Usually
Welcome.
during like Monday movie night, we can usually crack jokes and just have a good time with the movie. And usually you could do that with these older movies that you've seen 100 times, and they just have this thing about them. The first time I've ever seen this movie. It was really hard to do that. It was really kind of hard to do that because I was trying to watch the movie and understand, and there was just not a lot I could laugh at. This is downright just kind of a mean movie.
Yeah, and that's kind of one of the reasons why I chose it. I wanted to change it up, kind of like I did with The Color Out of Space. But even that one, we could crack jokes through because it's Nicolas Cage. I mean, we can always crack jokes about Nicolas Cage. It doesn't matter what he's in.
Yeah, you can always crack jokes at Nicolas Cage.
Yeah, he's playing Dracula soon.
Oh God! Did you see the trailer for that?
Not
Enfield?
yet, but I will.
Oh, you gotta watch the trailer for it.
But I wanted something unsettling, and I think I really nailed that in the head, in the coffin with that one, with this. Like it was. I remember watching it for the first time with Mom, and we were just scrolling through Shudder, and I saw it, and I was like, you know what? Let's just watch this. And I remember.
Let me cut you off there. Let me cut you off there for a second, Jeremy. Which Shudder does not have on there anymore.
It's on Netflix.
This is the second strike Shudder. I tried to do that with The Shed. They didn't have it. Jeremy tried to do it with this one. They didn't have it. That's twice now, Shudder. Put this stuff back on. Okay, continue, Jeremy.
So I just remember watching it, and like you get the first 5 minutes of it where they're making their way to the house. They stop off at the convenience store. You know, you had the candy truck pass by them. You know, being all mean and stuff, and you know instantly that that's, you know, probably the killer, stuff like that. But what really what really surprised me was how fast they go into the home invasion side of the movie with that dude just barreling down and football tackling their mom into the wall. Like, we didn't get 10 minutes into the movie and we starting it up. And
No,
just
I think
from that point on, it was just nonstop, like you said, depression, unsettlingness throughout the entire movie.
yeah, I think they start the home invasion about 15-20 minutes into the movie, and um yeah, it starts off with just a body check. Um and then the movie proceeds to run its course for probably another what, 20 minutes?
Yeah, about 20, 30 minutes.
And then they cut to the adult segment. And the main character, she wakes up after a nightmare and she's full grown. She's a successful writer. She's doing promos and shows and stuff. And she gets a call from her sister one night who's screaming and she's, like she's being attacked. She tries to, she loses, well, I think the phone hangs up on her. So
Yes.
she calls the house again because she's trying to get in touch with her mom because her mom's living there. Can't get a hold of her. So she decides that she's going to go visit them back at the house where this attack happened. And she goes inside, or she gets to the house there, and chaos ensues because the sister is downstairs in the basement and she's got like this little padded room and she's just crazy, and the mom is treating it as like nothing has happened. And the twist of it all, weird stuff happens. Like the sister starts. That is one segment I did have to laugh at, and it's not because of the actual scene itself. It was because of the sound effects, which was the slapping sound.
Oh, yeah.
She's being attacked by an invisible being, and she's being slapped. And as she's being slapped, you hear the and it's like one of those kind of cartoonish sounding slaps. It's not like, and come to find out, this whole adult segment that goes on is actually in the main character's, spoiler alert, it's in her head. It's this elaborate imagination of what I guess her future is, or at least what she's wanting it to be.
It's like
And
it's a way she's protecting herself from losing it in the moment.
yeah, I guess it's a coping mechanism. And that's the twist of it. You think everything's fine and dandy, but then when she reawakens because of her sister kind of snapping her out of it, she is just as much a prisoner in the house in that moment of time. It's like because no time has passed. They're both kids again, and they're both beaten, and they're both being used by these. And the strange thing is they never describe who these people are. I don't think they've ever they didn't give them any names. I think the only way they referenced them was a witch and an ogre, which
Yeah.
was
On the
a man.
IMDb, it's Candy Truck Woman and Fat Man.
Yeah. So well, I mean, yeah, and they just use and abuse these poor girls, and some of it is hard to get through. Um, so getting through the movie was, like I said, it was really well done. It was well shot. It was well, and I think the biggest thing for me was it does have a happy ending, I guess. I mean, the girls do survive. I could have sworn Jeremy had mentioned that like one of them died, but they both survive. The mom is killed because she was killed in the initial attack, even though um, main girl there had created that elaborate fantasy where she survived. Um, but she was dead, and the two killers end up dead. And you're like, oh, it's kind of like a happy ending per se, but they ended up making an escape about partway through the movie, and they ran into a couple cops, and then the cops get gunned down. They get thrown right back in the truck and brought back, and I was just like, oh my god, this movie's horrible. But I did enjoy watching. It's not going to be a movie that I want to watch all the time. I'm not just going to be like sitting there going, you know what? You
This
know,
is probably my second time watching it.
I'm
Yeah,
gonna
that
I'm
was
gonna
actually
watch
that was my second time watching this movie.
I'm gonna watch Ghostland. That's what I'm gonna watch.
Um,
Ghostland.
what's funny is adult Beth actually plays in Swamp Thing.
She played
Abby
Arcane, didn't
Arcane.
she? That's where I've recognized her from. I only watched like maybe one or two episodes, or
She also
one
plays
or two.
Sophia Falcone on Gotham.
Yes, yeah, I didn't recognize her from that, but I did recognize her because adult Beth, I was watching. I was like, man, she looks so familiar. And now I know because you told me it was Swamp Thing. I watched which is another horror series, and that one's getting a new show, I think.
And Rob Archer, he plays the ogre. He actually also does Krampus in
Krampus.
yeah, no, not in Krampus. He plays Krampus in A Christmas Horror Story.
Oh,
Have you ever seen that movie?
I ain't never seen that movie.
It's got William Shatner in it. Or, not William Shatner. Yeah, yeah, William Shatner. He plays like a radio thing. It's like him telling a story. George Buza plays Santa, and then Rob Archer plays Krampus. And there's like a fight between Santa and Krampus.
Seriously?
Yeah, it looks funny, like a comical horror movie. Um, but apparently, like he picked up like all of the stuff. They had like a couple wires to help him, but for the most part, like all of the picking up, he does all on his own. He's like 6. I think they said he's like 6'5". Like he's a
Really?
big man. 6'7" and 285 pounds of muscle.
Wow.
That's a big dude.
Yeah, that is.
And it's funny. Like I said, when you first watched this movie, you probably didn't experience it, so you probably couldn't say. But like, how do you think you would have reacted if I hadn't have told you what the twist was?
Um, I could have been
Would it have been more of a shock to you?
maybe a little bit. Um, that's kind of. I mean, they hinted at something like this because they were talking about because they mentioned how she just kind of goes into her own little world. So I don't think it would have been something that would have been like if they did it exactly the same, and then I got to it and was like, I mean, it would have been kind of surprising, but I've been like, oh, they kind of referenced it. This is a thing that she does, so it's not entirely out of the scope of, um, yeah, but it would have been a little bit more surprising, I think. But then again, when you actually watch this movie for the first time, we weren't actually talking about doing this podcast, so
That is true. And you there okay, there was a couple jokes that we were cracking on something very specific.
It was the mother.
Oh man, the Tommy Wiseau mother.
And she's actually a Canadian-born French singer, so she actually
Yes,
does.
Mylene, I don't know how you pronounce that. Farmer.
I'm trying to see if she's done anything.
Not really. I looked it up earlier, but it was
Giorgino.
um, that and the witch being an actual guy instead of a woman and bald.
Uh, um, is there anything on Kevin Power?
No.
There's
Oh,
nothing on him.
mm-mm.
Didn't know if it was like someone who actually
But
didn't. I just didn't know if it was someone who was actually.
actually, what? Come on, Jason. Finish this statement. Jeez, you're leaving us hanging.
Known for like actual like cross dressing and stuff like that. Like that was something that was put in the film specifically for this character or this person, or if it was something that was in the script and this was a guy just playing that role. Apparently he was in apparently he had a small role in Repo,
Yeah, I saw that. Very.
the genetic opera, but they don't really have anything, no pictures or anything for him, so I don't know. So kudos to both those actors because they were really creepy.
Well,
They were
I mean, the they yes, PJB doll. It was a man. It's played by a guy. Um, that whole, when they take Beth up there dressed as the doll, and he picks up the fake one, and it starts like laughing at him, and he like turns on his blowtorch and starts burning the hand.
mhm.
Like the sheer just imagery of it was a lot. What are you looking at, Jason?
I was just seeing what other films that guy was in.
What other guy?
Kevin Power, because he did Repo, but
Oh,
everything
that's
else has
it.
been. Well, no, there was other stuff he's been in, but it's
Oh.
not been like big stuff. I think this was like his most kind of big role, I guess you would say. So
It's
just
one of
trying to.
those movies that didn't have like a lot of big people in it.
No, no,
A
not
lot
a
of
lot
their
of big people.
first time playing in a movie kind of things.
Oh,
Um,
Did you hear about the accident with the actress?
yeah, apparently she had to get like 70 stitches because she fell into a window or fell through a mirror or something.
It was I had just seen it. I'm trying to figure out what the scene was.
It was
Hickson
young.
claimed in the Hickson claimed in the lawsuit. Yeah, it was a young Vera.
Yeah.
In the course of shooting the scene, the director consistently told Hickson to pound harder on the glass with her fists. I don't entirely know what scene they're talking about, but it said while filming another take, the lawsuit states the glass shattered, causing her head and upper body to fall through the door and shards of glass. As a result of the incident, she badly cut the left side of her face.
Ow.
She had to get huh?
Ow.
Yeah, she had to get 70 stitches. She was rushed to the hospital, got 70 stitches, and was permanently scarred. Hickson in the lawsuit states that the company failed to take any and all reasonable steps to ensure that industry standards and practices were adhered to, including but not limited to the use of safety glass and or stunt doubles as appropriate.
Yeah, that actress was actually in Deadpool.
Yeah, very very minor role. I think she was Oh, she was. You seen Deadpool, right, Jeremy?
Yes.
Remember right in the beginning where he's there with chandelier pants and the pizza guy.
Yep.
I think she was the girl who hired him to assault the pizza guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was her. I mean, I didn't recognize her because in Deadpool she's not. She's, what, maybe 2 minutes of screen time?
Yeah.
But I did recognize adult Beth because of, the couple episodes of Swamp Thing I actually did watch. So
I mean, at the end of the day, like, this is one of those movies like I would watch every like 5 6 months. It's definitely not Jason Lives or Friday the 13th, the remake, where I can just pick it up and be like, "Yeah, let's watch this movie."
yeah, there's certain horror movies that you can do that with, and there's other ones that you just need a little something. I mean, I've like I said, this one, at least for me, for the first go around, it was a bit difficult to get through. Um, I put it up there with something like Hereditary, which we'll get to one day. Um, it's one of those movies that is very dark. It's very twisted in its own way. It's enjoyable to watch, and it's just something that you can't watch like all the time. Like I'm not, like you had just said, I'm not going to go out there and just go, let me see here. Let's see. You got the A Team, Justice League, Avengers. Ooh, Incident at Ghostland. Let me just throw that bad boy in there. Maybe if I really want to like scare people out of my house, be like, hey guys, dinner time, and I got this great movie you guys should watch.
Yeah, we're
Oh my
gonna
good.
watch, a fight that kitchen fight scene in the beginning,
Oh, yeah. They were throwing
where
everything at
mom
each
just
other. Just
goes all out on them too.
she went ham. And of course, that was only like the imaginary thing where she jumps on the guy and stabs him, and then jumps on the big guy, and just goes to town on him. But um, yeah, this movie was a bit of a crazy one, and the dolls.
There were so many porcelain dolls throughout this house. What I never understood is during the future fantasy vision, why were most of the dolls still there? You would think they'd cleared them out.
I don't know, unless, well, I mean, it could have. Well, remember, she was locked in the house, and she, as the coping mechanism, she um was in her own world, but the husband that she married, the kid that she had, they were all based off pictures that were in the room.
The dog
The
too.
that angry wolf dog or whatever was a stuffed animal in the basement. So probably all the dolls and stuff were just there because that's what she was. She couldn't just change everything.
It was smart of her to hide in this Chinese puzzle box.
Except for that stupid doll that wouldn't shut up. Just shut up. And
After
who
after
who
she beat that big man in the head with a typewriter, and an old school typewriter at
Oh,
that.
yeah.
Big
Yeah.
honking metal typewriter just beat him in the head. God. We're like, hit him again, hit him again.
PJ just said, yeah, like that thing hanging on the wall with huge head and little body. Yeah, I pointed that one out. I was like, what is that thing? Who is the woman who was running this house? I that's that
She had porcelain dolls in cages out front.
that's the thing. I don't know.
Aunt Clarissa.
the thing about this movie is that nothing is explained. Nothing
No.
is explained in any sort of, entirety. It's like, Jeremy, why were they going over to the house?
Why were they going? Because it was
Yeah.
left to him. Aunt Clarissa died, and it was left to him.
Okay. So that, yeah, well, that is true. Ravenfire said it actually saved her life. She was being choked to death. Then that doll went off and saved her. But yeah, actually, that is true. I mean, the doll did, distract that big guy because apparently that. Okay, back to the thing. We'll get back to the big guy here in a moment. But okay, so the Aunt Clarissa,
Yep.
right? She died, left the house to the mom and the $2.
Yep.
Why was her house done up like a horror fun house?
That I don't know. There were
And
like
I
bugs and boxes. Ooh, excuse me. On the wall, like all sorts of randomness.
It was an ugly looking house. It was nasty inside. It was horribly just disturbing throughout the entire house. Why? Who were these killers? Where did they come from? Why did they do what they do?
The only thing
None
you
of.
got with them was in the newspaper about the home invaders.
Yeah, but why?
I don't know.
See,
Apparently, the big guy likes to play with dolls.
that was a thing me and Raven were talking about at one point. Was that we had come up to the idea that maybe this was like some sort of weird family dynamic. I think it was more. I think she had originally stated that she was thinking it was more of like a father mother type thing where the home invaders come in, they kill the parents because I think that said so in the news article.
And they
They
keep the
kill the
kids alive.
and they keep the kids alive. And of course they do these torturous things to them, but it's kind of like a mother father type thing. I was thinking it was more of a mother son type of thing
I think it's a
because
mother son thing.
the guy, the mom character, the candy truck woman, or I'm just gonna call her the witch because
I was
that's
gonna
what the
say,
girl
let's
does
just
to
do
her.
the witch and the ogre.
The witch and the ogre. Um.
It's Shrek.
Oh God, knocking my stuff over. Um.
Too bad there ain't a donkey in this one.
No donkey in this one. Or Puss in Boots. But yeah. So the witch would take Beth. No, I mean I presume she did it with Vera also, but it's the one time you got to see her do it. She would take Beth upstairs and she would doll her up, makeup, clothing, do her hair or whatever, and then she'd take her to the room and prop her up in the room with all these other dolls and whatnot, and leave her in there. And then the ogre would come in there, and the ogre never said anything. He just kind of grumbled and grunted and kind of yelled, and that was about it. And apparently, he didn't like sound. I don't know why, but apparently, it was just something he didn't like. He didn't like any sort of sound because
I think it
Vera
was
had.
like a psychological thing with him where every sound he heard was an insult to him.
Yeah, I mean, you did
They
get that
kind of
since
get
later
that.
on. They hinted at that when all the dolls were starting to go off, and they all started switching to like, saying mean things about him. So yeah, it could have been a psychological thing, but anytime one would make a noise, he'd smack it or hit it or use the little blowtorch to burn it. And you got to see those things on Vera, and her eye was always like swelled shut, and she had these burns on her wrists and stuff. Because I guess the rule was, whatever happens, don't cry, and don't move, and don't say anything. And um, but yeah, it's never really explained. Like, were these just two separate people? Were they brothers? Were they? it's never explained, and I guess that's kind of a good thing because you don't really need a whole lot of backstory on why these people do these things. I know they tried to do like maybe the sympathetic approach a little bit with like the ogre when, like we said before, the dolls were all going off, and to him it sounded like they were just being mean to him,
Yeah.
like it's something that's happened to him before. But yeah, these are just terrible, terrible people, and yeah, glad they're dead in the story. But no, I mean, I thought it was a good movie. It's just really dark. A lot of it was just really, really dark.
One thing I
And
can say I really did like about it was some of the cinematography was really good. There were a couple of long, extended shots that were really good. The light, I really enjoyed the lighting, especially in the basements when you're down there a lot. The light from dark to light um, was really good. And then the music. I actually really like the music, especially when they're doing their escape and they got that really cool violin sound kind of going. Uh, when they're going from spot to spot. I think you had made a comment on it when we were watching the movie. But those three things like really helped amp it up.
the thing that I liked most about this entire thing, why I thought it was really good, was the fact that it was different. You don't see, I mean, you got home invasion movies, but you don't see it kind of like this, where it does play out the fact that the two girls don't need to be saved per se.
Excuse me.
I mean they are kind of saved in the end by the cop or whatever. He comes in and shoots everyone up. But I mean, on the first attempt, they were able to make it out by themselves.
Mm-hmm.
They were able to outwit them, and not only that is the fact that you get the first opening scene where where they're going to the house and they stop at the convenience store and then they go inside, and then like just that same night they get attacked, and then you jump into like the what would be considered the present day, and you get that whole adult sequence just to be ripped away from that, and you're like, whoa, I didn't see that coming. um but Jeremy's favorite author makes an appearance in the movie.
He does. When she, on their ride back after seeing the cops get shot, she kind of goes back into that world of hers, and H.P. Lovecraft makes an appearance.
HP, did he have a chin that big?
He has a pretty big chin. He's like Bruce Campbell.
No, Bruce Campbell's no.
Very square chin. He was played by Paul Titley.
Bruce Campbell's got the jaw that's just groovy.
The actor's only in two things. This and the Pinkertons.
The Pinkertons.
And he was in 2 episodes of it. That's all on his IMDb. But yeah, H.P. Lovecraft did have a slightly larger chin. Probably not that big, but he definitely had the facial structure for it.
Yeah, I mean, he did look like HP. I think I looked at... Yeah, I'm looking at a picture of HP Lovecraft, and they made it look pretty good. He had a very...
He has a very specific head shape.
Yeah, I can't look at that too much. Makes it just weird.
But
like if I glance at him, like, okay, that's cool, and then when I stare at it too long, I'm like, that doesn't stop. It's weird.
So
no, but he makes an appearance in the movie, so there you go.
Yeah, and like I said, the music, I really enjoyed the music, especially the disclaimer when I played it, the first 30 seconds of Teddy Bear's Picnic. on the record player. It made me think of
Oh my goodness! Did we make it up to 9 people?
kind of like Tiptoe Through the Tulips with what's that movie?
Tiptoe through the tulips.
Oh, I know, right? Mom hates that song so much. What movie is that from, though?
I don't know. I know
I
that.
think that's Hostel.
No, I don't think it's Hostel, but I know they used it in I think like an episode of SpongeBob.
Nah, I don't know. But she
Oh, look it up.
absolutely hates that song. And
Tiptoe through the tulips. You see the music video for that? That is just the weirdest
I
music video
have.
ever. Oh God. Let's see here. Tiptoe. Just a reminder to some of the new people who are and joining us, because it looks like I think we've actually made it up to not. Oh, well, we lost 2 guys. We lost 2. We were at 9, and I was
So
eventually we'll get it. Oh, Tiny Tim. Oh, it was in Insidious.
that's what it was. Okay. Yeah, we'll get to that one. But like I said, Tiny Tim is just a weird dude in itself. But that's going off on a whole another tangent of time and space. So, on a scale of 1 to 10, Jason, what do you give Incident in a Ghostland with the wife of Tommy Wiseau? Might as well be. She talks like
Uh, so what would I give this movie? I give this movie an 8.
an 8.
Yeah, I'm gonna give it an 8 because, like I said, it was a creepy movie. Now, mind you, it's not. At least for me, it's not scary. I know. Um, I know. I had talked with Raven, and she said, it at least for me, the movie was fine. The movie was good. It didn't like really creep me out. Oh, it creeped me out. It didn't really scare me, is what I'm meaning to say. It's not like some sort of frightening movie that just makes me, oh my God, you know. But when I got to talking with Raven, she had said that, she, the movie kind of, she liked the movie. Is what I'm saying. There was a lot of issues that she was having with it, but she said overall the movie did really good in putting you in that kind of scenario, that headspace,
It was a
'Cause-
psychological roller coaster.
yeah, that's what it was. That's the best way that you could have put it, Jeremy, was that it's a psychological roller coaster. And it's kind of, there's movies out there like that. Like, I'm gonna go right back to Hereditary, where they spend more time, and that's the great thing about them, because you're watching like Nightmare on Elm Street, Halloween, Friday the 13th, and you're just sitting there waiting for the jump scares and the slasher, and the ooey gooey bits that come out of people. This movie doesn't do that. It is all about breaking you down on a cerebral level. And you know it I think most of the movie takes place in it, the movie takes place in the house for the most part, until they escape. And then you're thinking, oh man, they might get away, and then they get dragged right back into that nightmare. And at that point, I had lost all faith in that movie. I was like, oh, they're gonna make it. They're running out there, and then they're kind of
They're
setting
even
up. And
playing
like,
the good music.
yeah, and I was sitting there going, okay, I know this isn't quite the end of the movie. Something's gonna happen, and then the cops get gunned down, and they get dragged right back. And I'm like, this movie is like I hate this movie at this point. You cannot take me back to that that nightmare of a house. That's what they did. They took him right back there and proceeded to continue on with what was going on. And, eventually you get the good ending where the killers get killed and the girls get rescued.
I mean,
But
the
you're
whole
still just.
movie I think takes place over the course of like what, a few days,
I
if
don't even
that.
think. Well, let's think of it this way. Think of it this way. They show up at the house at the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
It turns into night. That's when the home invaders come in there. That's when the mom gets killed. And that's where the childhood segment ends and goes into the adulthood. I'm thinking that if the adulthood is still in time with the childhood segment, that would have had to have been a day or two.
Yeah, because I think she fell asleep like 2 or 3 times as an adult.
Because she fell asleep at the house when she got there on the couch for the first time, and that was when the. I think they only had to have been in the basement probably 2 days. I think. I'm thinking that the adult segment really just happened in the span of maybe a couple hours in the real world. That was her way of shutting everything down, and she lived through this adulthood phase before before she got awoken out of it or awakened out of it, whatever you want to say. Before she realized that she was just making it all up.
Absolutely.
So
I give this movie an 8 as well. For a couple
why?
things. So, it's a home invasion movie with a good twist style story to it. It's not something that you see a lot in home invasion movies. You don't see it a lot in movies in general where they put in this style of switching it between adult and child for this reason, that it's happening because she's putting herself mentally in a safe space where she knows mentally she can't be hurt. And then you slowly see, and what I loved about it is how you slowly start to see that world she creates start to dissipate as it gets more, as things get harder in the world around her for real. Like you can start seeing it leak into it.
Yeah, like the
Help me
sister.
on, yeah, like help me on the mirror and stuff like that. You can see where it's starting to like go into her world that she created. And I really thought that was a cool idea. I thought I thought the actors were well done, except when I couldn't understand the mom because she's got a thick French accent. Although I don't know how a redhead makes a blonde and a black hair, but that's whatever. That's neither here nor there. The other thing I liked about it was in that short time frame, I feel like I was able to connect with the family members in that short 15 minutes.
Yeah, you had Beth, who was always she wanted to be a big horror writer. She was all into horror, but she was scared of everything apparently.
Blood,
And
everything.
you had Vera, who is the was she the older sister or the younger sister?
Older.
She was older. And she was just kind of mean. She was like you baby her all the time and blah 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 blah. But yeah, Vera was kind of mean in the beginning, but that's just kind of a sister thing. And
You feel
I
for
did
these characters and you
yeah,
want them to succeed and live.
I did think about, because we were talking about her slipping into her like little adult fantasy world. And you said that the world was starting to deteriorate. She went in there so no one could touch her mentally, but
No, Mom.
I like
Vera was older.
I like the idea. I like the idea that even if she had that power to lock herself away mentally in the um the adult world where nothing could bother her, none of the outside stuff could bother her, that wouldn't last. Even if Vera wasn't banging on the wall, banging on her invisible walls, telling her to wake up, I'm pretty sure she couldn't have stayed there. They would have gotten her to snap out of it at some point. I do think that it was only a temporary thing.
Absolutely. So those were the reasons why I gave it an 8. I thought, like I said, it was something different that I hadn't seen, and I liked seeing something different. Plus, I like that they didn't really dilly dally to get into the movie. They just kind of, here's your introduction, and bam, here we go.
And it follows one of the like vacancy and whatnot in the sense of that this stuff happens.
Yes, it can actually happen.
It's not. I mean, you may be going to the extreme with cross-dressing man and a giant man baby, I guess, but home invasions, child abductions, these things exist. And I mean, you can watch this movie and it can get you lost in that kind of world, but it's a real scary thing out there. So
Yeah, I forgot that the actress who plays young Beth is also in Lock and Key.
Yeah, I didn't see that one.
Just so everyone knows. Well, IMDb gave it a 6.4 out of 10 based upon people's ratings.
Must be getting time. It must be getting time for the segment of the night that everyone loves. It's the tomato meter.
Dum, 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 dum.
Or Dusty Tomato.
All right, Jason. What? And everybody out there, what do y'all think Rotten Tomatoes critics gave this movie?
71.
71?
Go with a 7. Ugh. 7 and a 1. Dun, 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 dun. Bum, 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 ba-da-da. 65 from the PJ.
Ravenfire, what about you?
Oh, hopefully she's still there. Oh, 68. I'm close to the 71. Let's watch this thing be like a 69. I'll be upset.
55.
50. 55. Did you just say 55?
So one of the top critics that gave it a splat said the director meticulously showcases sadism while seeming comparatively indifferent to matters of basic storytelling, logic, and suspense.
I hate these people.
One person said, while the director delivers a fantastically tense home invasion thriller, the politics, from the misogyny to the transphobic villain to the reference for H.P. Lovecraft, makes his creative decisions virtually unforgivable.
I mean, the thing about it is that it's all opinion. People are going to like it. Some people aren't going to like it.
Oh, absolutely. One person did say an effectively punishing critique of the relentless misogyny that has become a staple of every stupid Texas Chainsaw Massacre knockoff that pits sexually active women against emotionally disturbed serial killers.
Yeah, but see, that's the thing is that these were younger girls and they weren't. What was that you said? Sexually what?
Sexually active women.
Yeah, there wasn't anything on that from their side. You know,
Exactly.
I can
It's
see that. I can see that in like other movies, like say Texas Chainsaw, or
Friday the 13th.
Friday the 13th, where you got
Sex in every
just
movie.
yeah, but that's what drives it, and that's bad. Can't do that type of thing. But in this one, it's not really aiming towards that. I mean, yes, it is very, very possible that very likely that Ogre was using the girls for some sort of, you know, I don't really want to think about it, but using them in some sort of manner like that, just kind of the way he was handling the normal dolls. But it may never even gotten to a point like that because with the crying and the moving, and him just kind of torturing them, he may just thrown them to the side afterwards.
Then
It doesn't really explicitly say anything except the fact that they were tortured and abused.
yeah. And
And
then one other one said the director makes many questionable choices regarding the film's villains, but those issues aside, he has still managed to craft a bleak, visceral, deeply upsetting horror film.
I mean, yeah, I can see that. I mean, I think I think this movie would have been a little bit better if maybe they fleshed out the villains just a little bit. I think the villains could have been fleshed out. I mean, you got a little bit of fleshing in the ogre character because of the way that little segment was where all the dolls were going off and they were calling him stupid and ugly and blah 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 and you're horrible blah 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 blah. You know, maybe in a sense he was some sort of he had to have had some sort of like mental condition. It's clearly what it looked like to me. He had some sort of mental condition, and apparently he had been abused a lot, verbally, possibly physically. Um, so there was like a little bit of like fleshing out right there, but not enough to actually get you to go, hmm. And the other one was just a guy dressing as a woman, and there was really nothing there. That was it.
Yep. The
If
audience
you would,
score gave it a 57.
we the, oh my god.
Yeah,
I
and
mean,
I think it all stems to the villains. It's just like you were saying. There's nothing there. It's just they're there.
I mean, it it could be the villains, it could be the entire thing. This is a movie that's really hard to get through. It's a very difficult movie to get through. See, the reason why I think people like Nightmare on Elm Street, and even if they are bad movies, you get into the later ones where they're bad movies. The reason why they like those movies, like Friday the 13th, is because that the villain gets fleshed out, and they turn into these kind of like goofy characters. You're watching a movie about a guy who is going around killing people, and you're rooting for him for the most part. You want him. You want to see him
Yep.
because he's this goofy character that you like now, or he's, in this one, you don't get that. They're not funny. They're frightening. They beat and torture young girls and they kill parents. And this movie is just really brutal on these kids. I mean, they're smashing them through things, and they never explicitly show any sort of like real major violence except for like smacking or hitting them. But you could just look at how their faces are swelled up and how their wrists are all
the
burned and
makeup
stuff.
artist, the makeup was really well done.
Yeah. And
You feel the pain that these characters are going through.
and that's probably why a lot of these fans or people who've seen this movie probably give it a lower rating, because you have villains you don't like, you have characters you do like, but throughout this entire movie, they're just getting beat. They're just there to, and in the end, they do put up a fight. You know, Beth stabs him in the shoulder with the scissors and so on and so forth, but about 80% of the movie is them just getting beat to death. And really, the only way they did get through was because they just survived.
Yep.
They were able to escape long enough to get to the cops, to get dragged back in, and then they just had to survive until the cops got there. So
Well,
it's just a hard movie to get through if you're not into these types of movies.
I say if you're squeamish, don't watch it.
Yeah. If you have any
Stuff like
But-
that. But that's all the time we have for tonight. Like I said, those are our opinions on Incident in a Ghostland. Obviously, we want to hear all y'all's too. So, feel free to hit us on our social media platforms, stuff like that.
Yes, our Facebook is Scary Stories by the Campfire.
Really helps us out a lot. And after watching this, I wanted for my series to be
Say
a little
Leprechaun,
bit
Jeremy. If you say Leprechaun, Jeremy,
fun.
I don't have anything to do with Leprechaun. I'm taking a
No.
2-month hiatus.
No, I'm not doing Leprechaun. No, not yet. That's coming.
Let's get come during when's
St. Patty's Day in March.
St. Pat's.
No, it'll be your time then, because this one, my series is 4 movies. It's 2 of the OG and 2 for the remake.
Oh well.
So it's 4 movies in total. But it's gonna be a lot of fun, Jason. Oh man. So without further ado, it's Stephen King time.
Oh no. Oh whoa. You said. Hold on. Don't tell me. Oh. Damn. Wait a minute. This one.
Why are you guys anywhere?
We're sort of a club.
Yeah, the Losers Club.
You want in? Yeah, I do.
Hey, we're 7 now. Lucky 7. I want to kill it.
I just want to forget about it.
It's not just us. It's all the other kids, too. Who's gonna be next? It kills kids, damn it.
You killed my brother George, you bastard. Let's see you now.
Maybe it's the water.
The water. Maybe it's the sewer.
Hi, Georgie.
You're not real! You're not real!
Was it Pennywise?
Big white guy, red nose. About 75 feet tall, mouth full of razor sharp teeth. You smell that? That's death.
Losers fight it. Losers die. They all